What would you do if your partner threatened a grieving child in your care? In today's story, the protagonist's choice is a masterclass in how to handle it. We can all agree 2020 was a terrible year, but it was particularly devastating for my family. It started with the unthinkable. We lost our dad at the beginning of the year after he had a sudden, fatal heart attack. Just like that, my little brother, Noah, who's only 12, had no one left. Our mom had passed away when he was just a toddler, so our dad was the only parent he'd ever really known. He was all we had left of our original family. Without a second thought, I fought for custody and was officially appointed his legal guardian. I'll be honest, the transition hasn't been easy for either of us. We're still trying to find our footing in this new reality, adjusting to these massive life changes. As you can imagine, Noah is taking it the hardest. 4 months, he just wasn't himself. He was withdrawn, had a bad attitude, and was constantly lashing out. I knew it wasn't him. It was the pain talking. I got him into therapy right away, knowing he was hurting deeply, and the stress of the pandemic certainly wasn't helping things. Slowly but surely, his behavior has improved so much. He started to feel more like himself again, though there are still hard days where he retreats into his shell. A few days before Christmas, he was feeling especially sad. Since it was our first holiday without Dad, he asked to be left alone, so we had a good talk where he could get all his feelings out. And then I gave him his space. My girlfriend, Chloe, was over at our apartment that day, and I had to run out to grab some groceries. When I returned, Noah was out of his room, helping me put things away, and seemed to be in a better mood. At the time, I didn't think anything of it. The truth came out yesterday. On New Year's Eve, Noah and I were out having some guy time before getting ready for the evening. He started opening up, telling me how grateful he was for everything and that he really hoped I wouldn't change my mind about taking care of him. The question hit me like a ton of bricks. I asked him why on earth he would ever think that. And that's when he told me what had really happened that day before Christmas. While I was out shopping, Chloe had gone into his room. She cornered him and told him, in her exact words, that he needed to change his attitude and stop moping, because he should be grateful that I was taking care of him at all. Then she delivered the final, cruel blow. She told him that we could still hand him over to the state if we wanted to. Chloe truly believed she was helping in that moment, completely unaware that her cruel words wouldn't just fail to fix the boy, but would also shatter her own relationship and future. I was absolutely furious. My blood ran cold just thinking about my brother, who had already lost both his parents, being made to feel so disposable. I had to spend the next several minutes reassuring him, looking him in the eye and promising him that was never, ever going to happen. He was genuinely terrified by the thought. We went home, and I immediately confronted Chloe. She didn't deny a single word of it. In fact, she doubled down, telling me it was all true and that there was nothing wrong with telling him to stop acting out when he should just be grateful that I gave up my life to take care of him. Her tone wasn't apologetic. It was self-righteous. She stood there, arms crossed, as if she couldn't possibly comprehend what she'd done wrong. When I pressed her about threatening to give him up, she just shrugged. To her, it wasn't a big deal because it's not like I would actually do it. She had expressed not even the slightest hint of remorse. The casual cruelty of it, the complete lack of empathy for a grieving child, was staggering. I told her that she had still scared him with that threat, that she had planted a seed of fear in his mind that I would now have to work to undo. I looked at her and said, "You need to leave my apartment." Honestly, I was far too mad to even be in the same room with her, and I certainly didn't want her anywhere near my brother. She started crying, which led to more fighting, but in the end, she left. So, for New Year's Eve, it was just me and Noah. Since last night, my phone has been blowing up. I've been bombarded with calls and texts from all our mutual friends, calling me a monster for kicking her out, especially knowing she has no family and nowhere else to go for the holiday. The hypocrisy was stunning. They were heartbroken that she might feel lonely for one night, the very same feeling she had just threatened my 12-year-old brother with for the rest of his life. Every single one of them has sided with her. Even my best friend told me I overreacted by making her leave when she probably thought she was helping. I explained my side of the story, but it didn't matter. They still think I was an ass for making her cry and spend the new year alone. After a day to clear my head and really think things through, I knew what I had to do. First, I talked to Noah again. I wanted to be sure she hadn't said anything else to him. Thankfully, she hadn't. We had another serious chat, and I reminded him that everything she told him was completely false. I made it clear that I would never, in a million years, give him up and that such a horrible thought should never have been put in his head. I also told him how grateful I am that he's here with me. I said, without you, I wouldn't have made it through this year. You gave me the strength to keep going. I also took a suggestion from someone online and reassured him that he isn't ruining my life in any way, just in case he felt any guilt from what Chloe had said. And yes, I did break up with her. After thinking about her actions, her complete lack of remorse, and the potential damage to my brother, I knew that she was not someone I could have around me or him. I can't risk her doing something like this again and ruining all the progress Noah has made in his therapy. I know some might think I should have done it right on the spot, but I needed to make this decision with a clear head, not in a moment of pure rage. She came by my place earlier, and we talked outside. Her reaction was as bad as you'd expect. Even after I laid it all out for her again, calmly and clearly, she still believed she had done nothing wrong. This revealed Chloe's greatest fatal flaw, a profound lack of empathy, an inability to see past her own selfish perspective, which ultimately sealed her fate. There was just no making her understand, and I told her it was over. I gave her a box with a couple of her things that were at my apartment, and she left. An hour later, my phone started ringing off the hook again, so I just put it on Do Not Disturb. That was all the drama I could handle for one night. I'll deal with my so-called friend some other time. Honestly, I am just mentally and emotionally drained. It's been a hard year already without all this extra drama. This weekend, I think Noah and I will do something to get our minds off all of this. We both need it. What a terrible way to start the new year, but all I can do is hope for better things ahead. The core lesson here is that protecting your family, especially the vulnerable, is a non-negotiable duty. Sometimes, that means making incredibly difficult choices and severing ties with people who prove they don't share those fundamental values. So, let me ask you, have you ever had to make a difficult choice to cut someone out of your life to protect a family member? What was the final straw that made you realize it was necessary?